You seen the people that was the stars and the shit that they was doing. In this clique, you know, we wife swap and all this kind of shit. You can fuck my wife and stand there and watch. I had the same principles that most men have until you put in certain situations. We all start with the principles. Depends on what you're facing. So I'm not the judge. But I remember with Flip, I'm staying in Malibu. I'm out of Jersey and New York, and you know the excitement of that. Now I'm in Malibu, and it's supposed to be the shit, but but I didn't understand that. I'm with a black man that owns his house in Malibu. That's unheard of shit. Flip made it clear. He said, "Yeah, there's other black people here. Miles Davis is down the street. He's renting. So and so, he's renting. I own my shit." But I still didn't get it because I'm young. You know, it's like, this is some boring shit out here on Malibu, the white people left and right, what's going on? So Flip one day looked at me and said, "Oh, you want to see the shit, huh? I don't know what the shit is, but I want to see something other than Malibu." And he took me to the parties. He took me to the shit to make me understand this is why I don't be around this shit. And so you seen the orgies. You seen the people that was the stars and the shit that they was doing. And the smells and the looks in their eyes. And I was, in my youth, I kept a cutlass on me. And so I know I'm walking around holding my cutlasses because you seen people in states of mind that you never experienced nothing like that. I knew people that got high, but they didn't get high and did the shit that I was seeing. And so after I was exposed to it, Flip took me around it about 4 or 5 times. And then he said to me, "You see why I don't fuck with that? Because, you had a group of people that painted their fingernails black, what they call Illuminati now. It was some kind of clique then, and in this clique, we wife swap and all this kind of shit. You can fuck my wife and stand there and watch, and all. I seen it. I literally seen all these things, and it was like, okay. And in my youth, I wasn't afraid. But I knew I would have hurt somebody if I was approached. I would have hurt somebody.
Think about
very aware. Richard was aware. Richard gave me the words to make me understand Flip's awareness, and that was the school that he had built in Zimbabwe. And I took pictures of it. I couldn't wait for it to be in jet or ebony. And I remember saying that to Richard, and Richard said, "Oh no, we can't do that." And I was like, "Why?" And he said, "Because if we did that," which is what a lot of these black entertainers are under now, but they won't say it. Richard said, "If we did that, then they won't allow me to make the money in America."
Right.
"Oh, you doing this in Africa?" Then that would dry up. And this was Robert Mugabe sitting down with the president of Zimbabwe. And as a kid in high school, I remember writing about Robert Mugabe and Joshua Nkomo, fighting for, it was Rhodesia at that time, fighting for that liberation. So to be sitting down at the White House, so to speak, in Africa, and Richard was very aware that we can't do that because they will stop it. Well, it's the same with a lot of these black artists today, except that they won't say that. Why can't Kevin...
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rachaha Kodash. Double honors to head apostle, and a great millstone who rule well and teach well. Peace and blessings to you, sincere. I can let her pushing this truth all over the four corners of the earth, week in and week out, in all truth and sincerity. I want to touch on this video clip that was sent to me, and it was sent to me by our brother in the chat earlier today, and it's from Comedy Hype channel. I'll leave the link in the description box as well. The title of the video is Richard Pryor Bodyguard Exposes Hollywood Parties and Explains Why Rich Blacks Don't Help Poor Blacks. Okay, and you heard what he was going into, how he was exposed to these Hollywood parties, that all different types of rituals and orgies, as well as various different wicked acts take place, demonic activity as well, at these various different Hollywood parties that these celebrities, these Hollywood actors, these movie stars, these high influential characters in society are required to participate in. All right. But I want to expound on the latter part of this video concerning, how he's going into how, you know, rich so-called black people are not allowed, and I'm talking about the ones that are in Hollywood, that are the ones that, have fame, that are on the TV, that have a heavy influence upon the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and ultimately they're set up by these wicked elites, are not allowed to use their riches, are not allowed to use their fame, are not allowed to use their persuasion for the good, so to speak. Okay, they're not allowed to help the poor. He was going into, the schools that they were trying to set up in Zimbabwe and various other places, and basically Richard Pryor stated that, he, couldn't pursue that on the level that this man was talking about because, you know, he wouldn't be able to keep making the money that he's making over here in America. Okay? And, when Jake gets involved in Hollywood, when he signs on that dotted line and he basically swears to uphold and keep, what the powers that be want him to do, there's particular rules and guidelines that follow along with that, especially concerning the riches and the money that you have. Esau is okay with you buying cars, mansions, houses, drugs, jewelry, but he doesn't want you helping the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in America, in their struggle in their communities. And not only that, he doesn't want you helping these so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans elsewhere, anywhere on the earth. Because ultimately, the condition that our people are in was set up by design. Okay? And to even go further, Esau doesn't want you helping these other nations as well. These other nations that are amongst these other lands in various parts of the earth. He doesn't want you going over there, flying over there, setting up schools, helping the community, bringing food, trying to help them in their struggle, in their condition, in their poverty. Because you got a lot of these other nations that are in extreme poverty, that barely have food to eat, that are dying from starvation. Got a couple scriptures I want to bring out real quick. Let's go to Psalms, the 83rd chapter. Because now we know that the condition that the Israelites are in is ultimately set up by the Most High Yahweh. Going into the Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, us being put in captivity and punishment and serving our enemies. And, the Most High has used Esau, Edom, in this last captivity that we're in to do so. Now, let's go to Psalms 83rd chapter, which Psalms 83, the 83rd chapter goes into the enemies of Israel. And, basically, not only Esau, Edom being our enemy, our arch enemy, but these other nations are our enemies as well. And they have a heavy hand in the demise, the condition, the state that you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are in. All right, so Psalms 83:1, keep not thou silence, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. And this is what this guy's speaking about, Richard Pryor's bodyguard. He's speaking about the crafty counsel that Esau has taken against our people, man, the Israelites. And how, you see on the TV, you see Jake, he's in Hollywood, he's, on making music videos, he's making money, he's, on the movies, he's on the commercials, he's the face of this, he's the face of that. But at the end of the day, they have signed on the dotted line to push Esau's agenda. And Esau is not going to allow Jake that's in his pocket to help you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans or change your condition for the better. Because it was designed to keep you in that situation. It was designed to keep you poor. It was designed to keep you basically seeking to the so-called white man for help. It was designed to keep you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans wanting in all things you have to pursue Esau, man. That's how it was set up. And ultimately it was set up by Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Matter of fact, let's go to Deuteronomy the 28th chapter real quick. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, and let's read verse 48. It says, "Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things." So in the want of all things, we basically have to come before Esau Edom, because he's been put in position of power, according to Job 9 and 24. You know, he controls the food supply, he controls the water supply, he controls the jobs, he controls the money, he controls the resources, he controls the wealth. All right? He owns these different businesses and all these corporations. Okay? It says, "In nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee." And you know, the majority of our people, this is what they fail to recognize. Okay, they don't understand, you know, what's really going on in the earth. They don't understand who's in the position of power on the earth, and ultimately who's been put in that position of power, because it's the Most High Yahweh who has put Esau Edom, mainly concerning these wicked elites, in the position of power that they're in. Okay, let's go back to Psalms, the 83rd chapter, and let's go down to the 3rd verse. It says, "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones, and they have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance." So this is a setup, this is a design, this is an agenda that these wicked elites has set forth on the earth against you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, to keep you in the condition that you're in, to pursue to keep you in a certain mental state and a certain spiritual state. All right? And also a physical state. It says, verse 5, "They have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee." Now let's jump over to Psalms, the 58th chapter. And let's start from the top. It says, "Do you indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do ye judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? Yea, in a heart ye work wickedness. Yea, weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies." And that's what this devil does. He speaks lies. He tells you that, you know, all you have to do is work hard. All you have to do is have talent. You can make it to the top. All it takes is hard work. You can become rich. You can do this. You can do that, right? But he doesn't explain to you, you know, the hoops you got to jump through. He doesn't explain to you how this system is actually set up. He doesn't explain to you those people that you see, you know, on Hollywood, on the TV, that are multi-millionaires, close to billionaires, you know, that what they have to do and what they have gotten, or I should say what they have to participate in to get what they've gotten. And the strict orders and rules that they have to abide by in Hollywood. You know, like this guy's going into. He said a lot of so-called black, you know, actors are under this, but they don't want to speak about it. Ultimately because they know what happens when they do speak about these various things, man. They stir up that hornet's nest. And let's also not be ignorant to the fact that, you know, some of these people, some of these jakes in Hollywood that are coming out speaking about what's going on behind closed doors, what goes on in Hollywood, this, that, and so forth, you know, Diddy's situation, and, you know, the people that Esau throws under the bus, so to speak, or makes the face of evil in Hollywood. Every year you got somebody that Esau is going to give you being quote unquote this evil character in Hollywood. All right, but you also got to understand that Esau sets up, certain of these Hollywood actors to come out and speak about certain things that are going on in Hollywood. And it's not because they just wanted to come out and say these various things, it's because, that's the script that they were given to speak about certain things. And then they sit back and see if any other Hollywood actors are going to come out and get bold and try to do the very various same thing. So they use that as a bait to expose the ones that are, ultimately willing to go against the grain, go against the order. Okay? It says, verse 4, their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear. Okay? And that's concerning the wicked. Let's go over to Jeremiah chapter 17, and let's go down to verse 9. It says, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. As the partridge sitteth on eggs and hatcheth them not, so he that getteth riches and not by right. And that's how Esau has got his riches. He's got his riches unjustly. It says, so he that getteth riches and not by right shall leave them in the midst of his days, and at his end shall be a fool. And that's how Esau wants you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, if you are to become rich. He wants you to get it, by doing unrighteousness, by doing wickedness, by participating in different rituals and sacrifices, man, etc. By pushing his agenda, by ultimately, leading the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans down the wrong path, man. He wants you to be like him. Okay? And it all goes back to the beginning. Ultimately, Esau, he's got a gripe, he's got a bicker. He's mad about that birthright. And ultimately he wants it back. He wants to reverse and change things that have happened in aforetime, man, concerning Jacob and Esau. Let me read that again. It says, as the partridge sitteth on eggs and hatcheth them not, so he that getteth riches and not by right. And Esau hasn't got his riches by right. He's got his riches off the backs of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. America and various parts of the earth were built off the bloodshed of you Israelites, man. Okay, it says, shall leave them in the midst of his days, and at his end shall be a fool. And all the riches that Esau got is ultimately going to be transferred into the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans' hands, because real wealth is never lost. It's just transferred, okay? From kingdom to kingdom, from ruler to ruler. You can read, I believe it's Isaiah, the 60th chapter goes into that. Let's go to Micah, the 2nd chapter. Let's start from the top. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. So these wicked elites have that power, which was given to them by the Most High. So they can practice and manifest, their wicked schemes and plans on the earth. They make it seem like, there's opportunity for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, but, he only makes it seem that way so he can do another thing. So he can use that for his advantage. He can use that to persuade more of the masses. There's a scripture that says, if he doeth good, what is that scripture? I believe it's if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Yeah, it's Sirach 14. Sirach 14th chapter, and I think it's the 7th verse. It says, let's see here. Okay, yeah. It's Sirach 14:7. It says, And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness. Okay, yeah. So when Esau, when it's perceived that he's doing good, it's not because he wants to do good. It's not because he wants to help. It's because ultimately he's using it as a strategic matter. And a lot of our people don't see it that way, man. And these things that are happening on the earth, you best believe this is a strategy these wicked elites are using ultimately to lead the masses of people into taking that MOTB. Okay? And he's using Jake at the forefront of these different strategies, man. Let's go back to Micah chapter 2. And, I'm going to read a couple verses and then we can wrap it up. And once again, I'll leave the link in the description box to this video. This is Micah chapter 2 and verse 2. It says, "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." And they've used various different Israelites to do this. Okay? And these leaders are causing you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans to go off to err. It says, verse 3, "Therefore thus saith the Lord, Behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go heartily, for this time is evil." That's right. And ultimately, the Most High Yahweh has these wicked elites in a trick bag. They think they're doing something off their own consent, off their own manner, off their own actions, off their own mind, but ultimately, they've been set up by the Most High Yahweh on the left-hand side. Okay, and soon Esau's demise, his downfall, his complete destruction is going to come, and we long for that day. Okay, like the scripture says, a man to see the destruction of his enemies. Let's close out on that verse. All right, let's go to the book of Sirach, the 25th chapter. Let's go down to the 7th verse. It says, "There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy." Okay? Lord willing, we're part of that elect number. We can witness the great destruction of Babylon the Great in various parts of the earth through the windows of the chariots, man. Okay? And at the end of the day, we're all going to see, the captivity, the slavery of the so-called white man whose biblical nationality is an Edomite. All right, but that's going to happen in the kingdom. Okay? And that's for all you so-called white people. That's for all you Edomites. You're all going to serve captivity and slavery under the hands of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and there's no escaping that. Okay? You can try to run, you can try to hide, but it's already been written. Your judgment has already been set. Lord willing, that was edifying. To the next time. Shalom.